The RINKRAT Report podcast is also brought to you by Season 2 of The Law Garage. Host Marco Sciarra, a Toronto criminal defense lawyer, interviews various criminal lawyers about the practice of criminal defense, gets them to share their war stories, and helpful tips for up-and-coming lawyers interested in the area of law. Out now on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. Step into the garage, listen to the experts, and get a tune-up. The RINKRAT Report podcast is brought to you by BetStamp, the ultimate sports betting companion app. Track, follow, and analyze your bets across multiple sportsbooks. And while you're there, check out the world's first verified buy and sell marketplace for sports betting picks. Download the app today.
Okay, we're recording?
Yes, sir.
Welcome, everyone, to the RINKRAT Report podcast. Very, very up and down week in Leafs Nation. As always, joined by Josh and Jason.
It was a doozy. It was a doozy week.
Oh, yeah. Some takes flying around. Left, right, and center. I saw... Get rid of Mrazek, get rid of Nylander, get rid of Rielly, get rid of, it was Liljegren, get rid of Sheldon Keefe, get rid of Dubas, get rid of Shanahan. Justin Holl, I heard his name thrown out there as well.
Did anyone say get rid of Nylander, or did everyone react to a fake tweet?
No, some old heads were saying get rid of Nylander. He did have a terrible winter Heritage Classic.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, cannot call it the Winter Classic. It was the Heritage Classic. But we'll get into that in a little bit. Shall we run through this week as quick as we can?
Let's start with that.
All right. So we start off, the Dirt Dogs came up to Canada. You know, usually the Snowbirds from Canada leave in the winter for Arizona, but the Dirt Dogs from Arizona came up to Canada, and they kind of kicked some ass this week. I'm not going to lie. I mean, shooting what? They scored 4 goals on 14 shots on Ottawa yesterday. Shout out David, the resident Sens fan. But it was a former Leafs revenge game as well in there. Couple Travis Boyd goals. An Alex Galchenyuk goal in there as well. How do you do? On top of this, most notable part of this game, I thought, second most notable part of this game, that was some of the worst goaltending I've ever seen from Petr Mrazek. Those first 2 goals should not go in a minor league AAA game. Max Bantam AAA game. I don't know how you get so out of position in that second one there. The first one was just a god-awful rebound. First taste of Erik Kallgren in this game. Some good fight back to push it to overtime. And then the most notable part of this game, the non-call in overtime.
Do you think, before we get to the next game, do you think that non-call and the overall momentum of Austin Matthews, the conversation about how he gets no calls, he gets no respects from the refs, combine that with the Dahlin play in front, led to that cross-check was like a buildup of frustration.
There's some angst behind it. But that non-call brought to you by Hakeem Optical. Not actually. But let's move on. We moved on from that game. Said, hopefully we can get a save from Petr Mrazek. Come on. Outdoor game. Shiny new helmet. I was very disappointed in this game. An outdoor game. The Heritage Classic. Outdoors. None of the goalies were sporting a toque. We played in an outdoor tournament, right, Josh?
We did.
I made sure to go out. I didn't purchase it. I tried to save as much money as I could when I was 18. I went out and actually bought a toque to just have on my head. Does it do anything? I have no idea.
Who was it that did it? Not first, but was it Jose Theodore?
Probably.
In that game against Edmonton? I remember very vividly.
So cool.
And Fleury's done it in the past.
Yeah.
Miller,
a lot
too.
of them.
Miller was the big one I really liked. But
the poof.
Exactly. But anyways, Mrazek had a nice helmet, and he had, specially custom made for that game. But whatever. Didn't understand why he got a new glove for that game. He couldn't catch worth a shit. But that game, I don't know. The Leafs played awesome. It started out of the gate slow. It was snowing. The game was in Hamilton. And it was very slow, but the second period it got going. The Leafs got going. The Leafs were the far better team than the Sabres in the second period. And then, Peter, Pumpkin Eater, he let in a god-awful goal, and the wheels fell off from there. I have to say TNT beat the wheels off of Sportsnet in this game in terms of game presentation. Sportsnet decided to use, I don't know, it felt like they were trying to follow along Spider-Man flying through New York City. TNT kept it simple, barely did any play-by-play, and just did an interview with Wayne Gretzky the entire time. It was awesome. William Nylander played like shit in this game. Very, very noticeable. Not going to mince words. Liljegren got benched too, so not a great game for the Swedes. Not a great game for the Europeans, but kudos to Buffalo. They beat the wheels off us. 3
Twice.
goals. Yep, 3
That's
goals
crazy.
in 2 games against Craig Anderson.
And how many for Buffalo? 10 goals in 2 games for Buffalo.
Yep, the Petr Mrazek experience. So we limp back to Scotiabank Arena tonight to play the Dallas Stars in the Robertsons game. We had some stories come out about the Robertsons. We'll talk about that later. It was kind of crazy. But we also had... But although there was 2 Robertsons in this game, it was dominated by King Eric Kallgren. King Cali, as they call him. He made a save. He made another save. He made another save. And he made a lot more than... He was a lot more consistent than what we've seen from Leafs goaltenders over the past few months. We'll say that. Marner and Bunting absolutely beating the wheels. Sorry to use that analogy again, but beating the wheels off of the narrative that they are carried by Austin Matthews, because they looked very good tonight with John Tavares. They cycle the puck incredibly well. They don't need Austin Matthews for that. They can put Alex Kerfoot there. They'll still cycle the puck well. Results won't be like they are with Matthews, but they look good. They are very good players. So the Leafs finally beat a playoff team without having to give everyone a heart attack, and the new lines all around looked pretty good. And that's all.
That's a great
That's
recap.
a great rundown. I love that. That was perfect.
Any surprise that John Tavares had in terms of his shot numbers, his fancy stats? Probably his best game in, I don't know, 3 months.
Not at all.
Maybe since the last time he played with a certain right winger on the Leafs.
Someone. Well, I said it right before the game. I heard it. I heard a take from a certain someone that we're going to see John Tavares on the 3rd line moving forward. I said, you know what? Like, he is being put in a spot. He's under the microscope. He's in the spotlight this game. He's much more important now that Austin Matthews is out for these 2 games. And I said, you know what? Like, if Marner, like what happened in the beginning of the year, if Marner feeds him and he's wide open and he air mills it 10 feet over the net like we've seen him do way too many times this year, like, are you going to just sit there and watch him get outperformed by Alex Kerfoot and go, yep, he deserves more time than Kerfoot, right? But he didn't.
I
he
will
made the
say,
most of it.
That person who had that take, shout out Eric, I think it was more like...
It's not unreasonable.
But it wasn't like John Tavares demoted to the 3rd
Yeah.
line. It was more like what we've talked about before, where it's like an even
Kerfoot
split.
promoted.
Kerfoot plays 2nd line center with Nylander, and Tavares plays with, let's say, Kasha and
Kerfoot's been good.
whomever, maybe Robertson, and that or whatever. But that becomes more like you can send both those lines out there, and then your 4th line is just the buried Kampf and
I did think, I will backtrack a little bit. I did think it was an interesting proposition because we are seeing Tavares under the microscope a lot heavier than what we usually do when Austin Matthews is in the lineup, right? So if he just completely, looks like a slug out there, are you really going to want to see him more minutes when Matthews is back, or are you going to want to see the guys that outperformed him?
Well, here's the other thing. Like, Jason's mentioned this for the last, 2 months. Our 4th line has been absolutely, utterly unproductive for 2 months now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a crazy idea to say, okay, I like Wayne Simmons. Maybe he can chip in here or there in the playoffs, but give him a little seat on, like, maybe a healthy scratch. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Make your 4th line Kampf, Mikheyev, and Engvall. Those guys play strictly defensive minutes, defensive zone draws, 10 to 11 minutes a game. And you can do Robertson, Kerfoot, Nylander, and you can do Kasha, Tavares, Spezza. And maybe you flip Spezza and Robertson there and do Spezza, Kerfoot, Nylander. Because Spezza's played well in the playoffs. I'm just thinking that way maybe you have more effective lines offensively with one that plays mostly defensively. Because right now, no offense, the 4th line is giving us absolutely nothing. Like,
They had a better game tonight, I feel.
well, that's because Kerfoot, like, this week.
This week he was on.
The 4th line has been better this week because of Kerfoot.
Oh, yeah.
And I think any line that Kerfoot's
He had
been
a
on,
sneaky good week.
yeah, he's any line he's been on, honestly, since he's been demoted. Not really demoted, but since Robertson's been called up and kind of taken maybe his spot on the 2nd line. Ever since then, like, of the 3 players who played on that line originally, John Tavares, William Nylander, and Alex Kerfoot, who do you guys think has been the best of those 3 since then? I would say Kerfoot, honestly.
He's been the most consistent, like, every night in, night out.
He's a good puck distributor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he
He's
looks
clearly
he looks great. Like
inferior skill wise to the other
absolutely,
guys. Like,
absolutely. But what he does on the ice is it's great. Like I love how he's been. One thing I've noticed in particular, he's helped our fourth line and third line wherever he's playing. He's helped us break out the puck a lot more, by making smart plays in our own zone. But
also the other thing going back to Tavares is again. When you play with Marner and Bunting, and specifically Marner, his game can get way simpler. He was battling in front for most of the game. They showed a highlight pack of him just being physically dominant in front. Easy, simple.
He scored.
He scored. It's a simple. The game gets a lot simpler when you play with. Not that the guys he plays with are inferior, but it's just different. Like we talked about, Nylander's become much more of a shooter this year instead of distributor. Oh, yeah. Mitch Marner, even in spite of him on pace for 35 goals, he's still the top or one of the top passers in the entire league. Yeah. So that's automatically going to help John Tavares.
One other thing I'm going to pass you this. Nick Robertson on the Fort, he looks pretty relentless out there on the puck. He's a bit of a puck hound. There was a 15-second sequence where Dallas had it in their end. They were trying to break it out, and he just didn't steal it, but just kept getting stick on puck. Yeah. Got to the neutral zone. Leafs ended up with the puck, clear possession.
There were 5 puck touches from 5 different players on Dallas, and every single time they touched the puck, Nick Robertson was right there. You got to post that clip on Instagram
I'll get
if you're listening to this, go check us out. Check it out on Instagram.
Yeah, I posted all of his chances that he got and his goal that he got. I posted that recently, but this is another part of the game.
This guy should be in the top 6 or top 9.
Oh.
He should.
After that head shake, I thought you were going to be like, what the hell are you guys talking about?
No, I mean,
I was like, what?
He clearly is trying his best to make the most of his opportunity. Yeah. There's been no call-up complacency. There's been no, I'm in the league now and I'm here to stay. He's acting like he needs to earn a spot every night, and I like it.
Yeah, I'm glad I pulled a random little clip from the game, and our resident video coach didn't me over the
that was great. That was great. Relentless.
But
the only thing with him, and I've heard it a lot, is sometimes when he has the puck, just not to be so
jumpy, right?
Jumpy.
Yeah. He sometimes
not just pucks on net kind of thing.
Or pucks over net or pucks missed net.
Pucks over net. Yeah.
But
that as well. It was funny when I posted that on TikTok. I don't know why I was about to say Tinder, but wrong TI app. Someone said I do like this guy, but he misses the net so much, and then that game against the Coyotes, he airmailed it over the net 3 times.
Yeah, I forget who someone was comparing it to on the reader. I think it was Caulfield to start the year this year.
Maybe. Or Nylander when he was younger.
Yeah, exactly. Similar scenario where these guys are getting a ton of puck touches and shots, but they're just way too hyper with the puck. Here we go.
Oh, here we go.
Instead of maybe slow it down and just get it on net, shoot it hard, shoot it on net. But
you never know.
The other thing, are we still talking forwards or what?
Yeah, let's keep in the forwards.
I don't have that. I love that line with Engvall, Kampf, and Mikheyev.
Yeah,
I love it.
That's been a solid
speed.
line.
I love it. And I don't want to nitpick the fourth line, but I think there's an opportunity to really balance out the lineup somewhere here.
Absolutely.
Did you see David Kampf claim Tyler Sagan's ankles?
That was amazing.
And then he
cut back,
buried it
into his chest. But of course, it's David Kampf.
He has flashes. That's all we care about. But
our David Kampf. Wow, turned into a sniper there. But
I know we touched a bit on the fourth line, but going forward, how do you guys feel about tonight? Against the Stars, kind of an odd thing. Clifford, after being with the team for a month and a half in the NHL, finally gets to draw in. What do you guys think of that? Do you think that's more of a message for Simmons, or do you think that's there's?
I think they just want one pure physical guy in the lineup at a time.
That makes sense.
And they're we need to give Simmons a rest, whether he wanted to or not, or he was okay with it or not. And they're just we need some grit kind of on that fourth line there. Play him 7 minutes, whatever, run around, throw some hits, which he did.
Yeah.
It was all right. It's not bad.
So would you want that in the playoffs though, or would you rather because right now the forwards, I think those Spezza, Simmons, and Clifford would, for me, it would be in the mix for the 12th forward. I have Robertson, Kosh, and then the rest of our lineup, our third line, second line, first line. Who would you guys have as the number 12?
Who would I have, or who? Like, I don't think Robertson's locked in the top 12 for the playoffs for this team. No way.
No?
No way. No. He just got scratched last game.
But
that was for Heritage Classic, though.
Okay.
They
To be
needed to
fair,
get in.
yeah. Like
Okay.
Your vets.
We've been down this road before. I just don't. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, I don't think Nick Robertson has done anything to get himself played out of the lineup yet.
I
at
agree.
the very least.
There have been other times in his career where that's been the case as well.
That's true. But I think, honestly, I think this year it seems like the Leafs have.
It wasn't like he put up 17 points in 2 games, whatever, with the Marlies since coming back from injuries, and the Leafs were like, yep, call him up. Like, it was 8 points in 9 games kind of thing. And then, like, Kyle Dubas came out and was like, we absolutely love the way Nick Robertson's playing. He didn't play in the Heritage Classic. I think that was just a veteran kind of thing. We'll get into it more. Never mind. I'll leave it at that.
Do you guys know what his average time on ice is in 7 games for the Leafs?
11 minutes?
12 minutes?
9:58. You think
got-
that guy's
Well, yeah,
locked in the top 12?
Well, he's
He also
not
played
playing.
3 games in. So what's it been the past 3 games?
This game he played 7 minutes.
Wow. Yeah, he's got to be given more time, honestly.
7 minutes?
No, sorry. You know what? That was the Arizona game, but he also played very little this game. I'll give it to you right now. 1 sec.
Okay.
He was last in the team in 5 on ice, and then I don't know how much power. He was 11
He played
minutes.
like a couple minutes.
So probably
11
12
minutes.
12 minutes.
2 shots on goal. Is that correct? Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Sorry,
Yeah.
the Arizona game he played 7. This game he played 11.
Interesting.
Is that just 5-on-5 or
No, that's
No, it's
whole game.
total? Okay. I just wanted to
entire
make sure.
game.
So, I was just thinking that. Yeah, never mind. I'm just that goes out the window.
What?
Because one of my biggest criticisms of the Leafs last year, I think we all can agree with this, is that, and going into this year, was that we really didn't know exactly what we had in our guys, in our young guys in Sandin, Liljegren. Now we know for sure.
Yeah, I went from not playing them to suddenly 10
Playing
games
them
in a
every
row
game.
on the first pairing.
Exactly.
It's kind of I don't know how that does for a guy's psyche either. It's kind of it's got to be tough.
Yeah, but that, and then paired with, there was news today that Elliot Friedman dropped on the podcast, on his 32 Thoughts podcast. Might have been on the 14th, but he mentioned, I don't know if this is just him kind of speculating, but he mentioned specifically Nick Averted, that the Leafs probably want to take a look at him in the NHL once he's finished in college.
How?
Harvard.
What do you mean?
Where?
That's a great question.
I don't know.
But that just makes me. That's just me pie in the sky, hoping that they're starting to learn, that they're learning that we need to start getting a look at these guys sooner. But
I will do a meat mountain if either of those guys play a playoff game this year.
Oh, I found out.
who?
Nyes or
Yeah,
Averted.
okay, yeah.
Near my cottage, I believe there is an Arby's.
So where I'm waiting.
Let's go.
By the way, I think since you said that, Matthews literally is averaging a goal a game.
Yeah,
he is.
36 and 37, right?
He is. I
That's
have
great.
to do it. I looked it up on. I'm like, I'm gonna do it, and then like, it was just an hour the other way that I was coming from. I'm like, damn it, I'm not doing it. I will get it done before the regular season ends.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Though, how am I supposed to expect that those guys who are hopefully promising young forwards
I
are
got
going
to watch them on Saturday.
How are they going to play if Nick Robertson gets scratched some games?
I know it's tough. I mean, I think both of those players are done in college, especially Nick Averted.
I was going to say, do you think Nyes is going to be one and done?
It looks like it. They were my Saturday, very entertaining, very lit Saturday. I watched the third period of Minnesota Penn State, or the second and third period of Minnesota Penn State, and I got to watch RPI and Harvard play. And then I got to watch Ottawa blow a lead against the Chicago Blackhawks. So, very exciting Saturday. But I got a better look at Abruzzi, and I got a better look at Nyes. They absolutely love Matthew Nyes in Minnesota. The color commentator for the Big Ten Network was saying, I love how this guy just plays with reckless abandonment when he goes for the puck. He is a puck hound out there. And it doesn't hurt that he's 6'3", I believe over 200 pounds.
Yeah, 210 on his hockey.
He's really good at hunting pucks in there. Something that, like, fourth line, why not? Like, chip and chase kind of guy. Knows what to do. In front of the net is pretty good as well. We've seen that. And as I mentioned several times, hard shot too. And I think he's about a point a game this year in the NCAA. I think he's done in college. Wouldn't overly surprise. I'm about 70-30.
I'm sure there's going to be a big push to get him back, though.
Yeah. Well, I think like Minnesota, I believe, had the Big Ten Player of the Year, Ben Meyer, who will be leaving as well. I think some players are leaving, so they're going to be making Jack LaFontaine left midseason. Justin Close is their goalie. He's all right. He's whatever. But so that was Matthew Knies. They were gushing over him. Abruzzese just looks like it was against RPI. We do have to watch the next round as well. I don't think they're playing anyone special there too, but it just looked like he was way above the competition. What did surprise me, he's 5'9". He plays center. I don't know if that's going to continue in the pros as well. Around the net, got some really good chances. Scored to push it to overtime right in front of the net. Had a fantastic chance as well. Got robbed by Jack Watson, former St. Michael's buzzer. Or Jack Watson. Very good rookie year he's having. And then on top of that, just toe drag the hell out of someone too. Like it looks a little bit too easy for him there.
It should be, though.
He's
turning 23 this summer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. 99
Like, if
born.
he's a legitimate Leafs prospect, he should be absolutely dominating.
Yeah. I don't... I mean, it's Harvard. I can understand, like, hockey's not the be-all, end-all of the world. So if he goes back for a fourth year, I can see why. However, in terms of hockey development, like, I understand why he went back this year. He had the hip surgery. Missed all of last year.
Right.
So, came back... Still dominated. 27 points in 23 games this year. He went 6 games in a row without a point. I don't know what happened there, but pretty impressive. So, very good, skilled player, smart, and knows what to do around the net.
Mm-hmm. And just for contrast, like of when guys come into the league, like Kerfoot was someone who went to Harvard, and he came in at age 23 is when he came into the NHL. So that's like
he played all 4 years.
He played all 4 years. So that's kind of like it's a normal thing for players to do that. So just wanted to clear that up.
But
for those that don't
also, just using Kerfoot is not like there's a
ton of other players. I know
the majority of guys
the
majority of guys who are 23, 24 coming from college are not successful NHL players.
Okay. No, well, they're not top 6 NHL players.
I know, but I'm just saying like. That
so
is
like
not.
When you
that is
look
not.
at your guys coming out of college at that age, like Jimmy VC, your Zach Aston Reese's.
But those are the guys
John
that made
Marinos.
the NHL. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
like,
they're lower end
Nick
guys.
Abruzzese could be like. There's a million guys in the that end up just going to the
Andy
AHL
Miele, I don't know.
that never do anything.
Yeah.
I just want everyone to understand that is not the most replicable NHL success path. That's all.
Yeah, just being older and more physically dominant than everyone else.
Exactly. And that doesn't mean he's not going to be good, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, he looks pretty good. He looked good at the Olympics, too. That was encouraging.
The overwhelming precedent is for those guys not being impact NHL players. A lot of them do.
Yeah.
Most of these guys you don't hear.
Knies is younger.
Knies is different. He just got drafted.
Different. Yeah.
Knies would be similar to Matty Beniers or Owen Power.
Yeah.
Like, it's a completely different story.
Yeah. In terms of Averted, I know what you're saying there. It's been encouraging to see a 4th-round pick who was passed up in his NHL draft come in and look very good this year.
Yeah,
especially at the Olympics.
I'm just trying to give the context of it, right? Because I don't know if
that's important.
all of our listeners we're talking about Abruzzese and Knies similar, but Knies was drafted a couple drafts after, and he's 3 years younger, and
Different
he's also much more physically mature. He's the guy that you want to look at as, oh wow, like let's not trade him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like,
oh yeah, no. Knies is way more valued than
exactly. I just wanted that to be
Pontus
but you're
Holmberg.
right. There's a lot. How about Tyler Bozak? Tyler Bozak was a college.
Yeah.
He was a free agent.
Yeah.
He was younger though, I believe.
He was a little younger, but I'm just saying. Like,
no, he played all 5 years of junior.
So he's the same age.
And then he played 2 years of college at Denver, I believe.
So similar age.
Yeah. So
but I'm just there's success stories and there's not.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I don't think those guys are playing. Maybe they'll get 1 or 2 games.
Yeah, I think so too.
But no meaningful minutes.
And they would have to sign first, right? They're not signed yet, so.
Nope, they are not because they are playing college hockey in which you don't sign your entry-level deal.
Yeah.
Abruzzese might be one of those guys who burns his ELC, plays games, and then is on a 2-year after that. It becomes very common. But we'll see.
I can see that.
And, hey, hopefully they want to play for Toronto. A lot of these guys don't turn pro and want to become free agents. But
yeah, that's true, too.
I don't think that'll happen here.
Yeah. But anyways, overall sentiment, I was very encouraged from what I saw.
From the forward group.
From
them.
From those two guys. But yeah, from the forward group this week, it was on and off, I gotta say. Hit and miss, we'll call it. The Buffalo game, I think, didn't really represent how many, like 2 goals on Craig Anderson. I thought they played a little bit better than that.
Yeah.
Especially that one I wanted to highlight. Like, it was the tale of 2 games for William Nylander. Started off the game, great pass on the power play to Matthews, fed him wide open, exact replica of what we saw against Nashville and what we saw against Seattle, but he wasn't able to bury it home there. And then he got his assist where he shot it on net. Andre Kasha cleans up the rebound. Starting the game pretty well. 4th goal just completely gets bodied in his own end, ends up in the back of the net. We'll talk about that goal later. And then the 5th goal, I don't know what he's doing at the blue line there for the empty net.
Yeah.
Very up and down.
Feels like he just gave up on that puck on that empty net.
Showed some more life tonight.
Yeah,
against
for sure.
Dallas.
For sure.
I thought.
Yeah.
But there are flaws to William Nylander's game. He's a fantastic player, but there are flaws.
And it's been a tale of, I feel like I've said this almost for the past couple of weeks now, but it's a tale of 2 seasons. The Nylander we saw in October, November, December is not the Nylander we're seeing in January, February, March.
Yeah,
not at all. And it's just, what happened? I don't know.
Why? I wouldn't say not.
Not.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't think I'm at the same level as you, but I know what you mean for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair point because when you look at his game, he's pretty much offensively dominant, right? He's an offensive player. He doesn't really contribute in a lot of other ways, but he's elite at contributing offense. But we know it's an NHL season. It's a long season. Even the best offensive players see ebbs and flows. Mm-hmm. So that's what he's seeing. He's seeing ebbs and flows. And then, like you said, when from the second period on, he's not really chipping in as much offensively. Yeah. Those defensive blunders become more magnified in your brain.
Yep. Maybe he was cold.
Maybe. It's also outdoor games are weird.
Yeah,
outdoor
games practice, are weird, he looked so fat. I don't know how many layers he had. There's a video of him walking. It looks like he is 300 pounds because he's probably got 700 layers underneath there. But he looks large. We'll call it that. But anywho, is that all we have for the forwards?
Again, it's going to be interesting as we get to the deadline if this is a spot they make an ad or not. I don't see the room really.
Yeah.
I don't even see the room for next year. I already went over this. They have like 12 guys signed. So I think they like their forward group. I think
Matthew Nice.
I think they have a pretty good forward group.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if it's top tier. I think the top tier is the top line.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's cream.
And you're going to hope they keep
the power play hopefully.
And the power play, yeah. So
and I keep going. I've been going back and forth all year. At the start of the year, I want Kerfoot gone. Halfway through, like couple games in, all right, let's keep Kerfoot. Now close to the deadline, I want Kerfoot gone. 3.5. Now I'm starting to lean towards let's keep Kerfoot.
No,
I like him.
Yeah, I like him.
I don't think there's other guys if you want, like Mrazek. Yeah. Get rid of him if you want to clear.
Yeah,
we'll get into that.
Yeah.
All right, transitioning into the defense. Before we get into the defense, let's talk about Manscaped. Today's podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in below the waist grooming, the champions of the world of that. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th-generation trimmer. We cannot say enough good things about these products that they sent us. The Lawnmower 4.0, the lawnmower that I believe it's called the Lawnmower for the ear and nose trimmer that they gave us as well. That's incredible. The ball deodorant that you've gone on weekly about. I actually did purchase on my own. They didn't send me this one. I purchased on my own the body wash. It smells incredible. I've never had I think there's cologne in it, infused in it.
Do you have a little profile of it? Like, is it like a musky? Is it like a?
I don't have that further. I'll keep using it.
All right,
but
all right.
I did purchase that.
Okay,
and it's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But get 20% off and free shipping with the code RINKRAT. That is RINKRAT at manscaped.com. 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com using code RINKRAT at checkout. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
We love Manscaped.
We love
it. Love it. Let's get into some defense, shall we?
Yes.
This is what the rant I want to say. I want you to go You go first, though.
What? No,
everyone's giving Sheldon Keefe credit for putting Lyubushkin with Rielly. Joe said that 3 weeks ago, And it's like so obvious that Liljegren was like, I get he's going to be a really good player. He did some really good things well, but he was struggling playing with Morgan Rielly, and they didn't complement each other very well in the defensive zone.
They were the same, one in the same.
And one game, he just puts the guy that makes the most sense with Rielly, which he should have done 10 games ago. And now everyone, Sheldon Keefe just showed his coaching prowess and his masterclass. You know, starting Kallgren and putting Lyubushkin with Rielly. First of all, he had to start Kallgren. There's almost like I would have almost been equally surprised if Mrazek was a starter. It was like a pure 50. It wasn't that surprising to me. I don't know about you guys after that Heritage Classic.
No, I thought they should.
Once you give up like multiple goals on the goal line in the fashion that Mrazek did, especially like in such close spans, you got it.
And Joe said Rielly with Lyubushkin literally 3 weeks ago on this pod.
Yeah.
4 weeks ago, like right after he got traded here.
Well, my main point was like in the playoffs, you're gonna have to when Muzzin comes back. I think what makes the most sense because of what's out there in the market is putting Muzzin with Brodie and then Rielly with a stay-at-home defender in Lyubushkin. Like it just complements itself so much more. But they continued to put Liljegren with Rielly, and then we saw the results. Yeah. There was one play where it was the puck was in the neutral zone, and against Buffalo, he only played 10 minutes, but there was a couple gaffes from Liljegren. I love him. The on-ice results this year, like the expected goals, they are the way they are for a reason. He does do a lot of good things. His mistakes are they're huge gaffes, it seems like, in his own end. Similar to a certain number 51.
I'm not ready for that for him.
I'm not either. I'm not either. He's still very young, but just something that I thought of. Anywho, our friend Josh Simpson was talking about on Twitter. He wrote an article. I'm like, this just gives me Jake Gardner vibes. I'm not going to lie. But, yeah, there was a couple gaffes, especially the first goal against Buffalo. That goal was just so defensively bad and bothered me because it was Peyton Krebs had the puck, if I'm not correct, right?
I believe so, yeah.
So he has the puck. He's coming down on Rielly. Rielly's in the middle there. John Tavares is back checking. Krebs is going in so slow. Mrazek is tracking back just in case there's a pass across. But Krebs is moving so slow. I don't know how he's able to move this slow that Mrazek has to actually challenge more because he's falling too far back in his net because Krebs is moving so damn slow. He steps out. Krebs just has a wide open lane, feeds it across, one-timer goal. Not Mrazek's fault at all. He didn't have the momentum going across because he couldn't track back because Peyton Krebs had so much time with the puck. And it all started with a Liljegren turnover, just to throw that in there. But he looked a lot better tonight in a sheltered role with his buddy Rasmus Sandin. But I agree with you. Lyubushkin and Rielly look so much better than what we've seen these past few days.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys touched on that, but in the Heritage Classic game, I don't know. We're pretty sure, we're not 100% sure that Liljegren actually got benched and
Lyubushkin.
Lyubushkin
He played 10 minutes.
Yeah, and so Lyubushkin got some shifts in there with Rielly, and tonight especially he looked good. I just do want to make a note. They did lose the expected goals battle, and I know that sounds
Liljegren Sandin?
Rielly Lyubushkin. Sorry, I'm kind of bouncing around. They did lose the expected goals battle, but I want to point out that it was 1.267 to 1.486. So they didn't lose it by that much, and the Dallas Stars at the end of the period got a full expected goals off of those 4 shots at the end, at literally the very end of the period when Lyubushkin got the penalty.
Oh,
so that's I know it's a good. That's just my way of rationalizing it. It's not as bad as I thought. The pair looked amazing tonight. I thought they looked really good, and it's so simple. It just made so much sense.
Yeah,
right. It's like you have the puck
move with defensive.
Exactly, offensive puck mover with defensive stay at home, clear the net guy. It's just such an obvious move, and it's such a shock that it wasn't made sooner, especially considering how well Lyubushkin looked on our third pairing.
Exactly, and what he brought to that third pairing too.
And also, Sheldon Keefe said about 40 minutes ago that they're going to play together again next game.
Perfect, amazing.
Wow.
That should.
There you go, Sheldon.
I'm comfortable with that going forward.
I'm
very comfortable with that going forward. So.
Yep. But yeah, you mentioning that Liljegren got benched. I for some reason I don't know why I didn't just count it up. That would have made entirely too much sense for me, but I was like, oh, the Leafs are rolling 7D. That's why I'm seeing all these different pairings.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why I didn't realize, I haven't seen Liljegren in
Yeah.
the past 20 minutes.
He did get a C.
I was too encapsulated from Wayne Gretzky.
I also think I'm happy, like Jason said, we know more about Liljegren, but it also gives I think they painted him into an unfair picture of him to some fans from there.
To fans, for sure. And fans and media, I think, for sure, he's been painted in a horrible light, except for the analytics community, which are saying he's a top 3D which, I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to skip over that. But I think in terms of Leafs development, they've got him right where they want him. I think, at least. Right? But, yeah. Timothy Liljegren. It's going to be an experience. Travis Dermott getting scratched for the Heritage Classic.
And for tonight as well.
And for tonight.
2 back-to-back games.
When he was on the graphic for tonight. They're like, 7 p.m. Dallas. And it was a picture of Travis Dermott, and they scratched him.
Yeah. Is that surprising, though?
Kind of. I thought he looked pretty good with the third pairing.
But who would have came out then?
Timothy
That's the thing.
Liljegren.
From the first pair to out of the lineup?
Got benched. Like, I don't know.
Makes sense.
They did that to Rasmus Sandin, didn't they? When he played with Rielly, didn't they scratch him?
He got sick.
Sick right after. But like, it's just like I know what you mean, but it's just kind of like, damn, this guy definitely wants out.
Oh, he for sure wants out.
He was frustrated after last year's playoffs.
I'm kind of surprised his agent hasn't made like a public. We've seen a couple players recently.
Who's his agent?
I don't know, but
let's take a look.
He made. I also respect he just goes about his business.
Yeah. It's good,
I've never been the biggest Dermott guy, but I really hope he gets a shot at it, with another team.
I think so as well. I think a fair shot with another team. His agent is Jeff Jackson.
Well, he's got a good agent then.
Oh, Jeff Jackson's other clients: Connor McDavid, Aaron Ekblad, Alex DeBrink.
Oh, you didn't. Oh, okay. I thought you were. Yeah, Jeff Jackson's one of the premier agents.
Oh, he's a Wasserman guy. Okay, yeah, I know Wasserman. There you go.
But I think Dermott could also be a sharp pickup for a team looking for like a 6'7" defenseman who has some control for next year as well. If they're losing a free agent, I think I don't think that's a bad.
Or if they're trading a free agent and you get him in return.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, fair move. I mean, just treat the guy right at this point, kind of thing. Like he, like this season, like at one point he was scratched for 6 games in a row. Mm-hmm. He came back and he played some solid hockey. And then gets scratched again. Like the Heritage Classic, I feel like that's such a kick to the groin because it's just like it's such a big event, and like all the guys get so fired up for it. Like they made sure they had everyone in, and then like he gets scratched, and it's just like, okay, but who do you pull out? Do you pull out the new guy, Lyubushkin? It's like, well, no, he's become very important to the roster. So it's like, yeah, it's a tough spot. I mean, I really wish we could peel back the curtains and see what happened there, but that'd be kind of an invasion of privacy. So
it's also amazing how much less we talk about Justin Holl since he started playing with TJ Brodie.
That was about what I was going to ask you guys next. All. How do we like the Holl Brodie pairing?
It's quiet.
It's fine.
That's
other than the front of the net. I still don't like Brodie in front. I showed you a clip. It was Cody Eakin just put his ass straight into Brodie, set up the tip, and tip went through no problem for a scoring chance.
I'm not going to complain about TJ Brodie.
No.
Even if he's a little soft
just
in front.
One. That's the only aspect to his game that I will complain about, but it's not going to change, right? So does a lot of other things very, very well.
Yeah.
Have to add that in.
It's
incredible how quiet it's.
Yeah.
I haven't heard, other than someone brought it up the other day. They're like, oh, Justin Holl stinks. And I'm like, but like, what has he done in 2022 that's made you go, Justin Holl, and shake your fist at God? Nothing. Right?
Yeah, he's been steady. I think most likely at this point, I don't know if they're going to get a top 4D. So does that mean Justin Holl is going to be a part of the equation for the playoffs?
Well, the top 4 as it would sit right now would be something of the likes of Rielly, Lyubushkin, Muzzin, Brodie, and then Sandin Holl.
Yeah.
Right?
And Sandin Holl, if I remember, looked pretty not bad.
It was sufficient. And it was a second pairing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was very sufficient, I thought.
I think what you said is great, though. Like, there's no better way to bring back Muzzin than to just pair him with TJ Brodie. Like, it'd help him out so much.
Oh, yeah. That's why I hope they do that. I mean, but part of me thinks that they're going to they're going to force that Rielly Brodie back together.
Maybe.
So we'll see. It'll be interesting. Muzzin's coming close to getting back.
Yeah, good.
So
That's honestly really good.
We're not going to get the exciting trade deadline we expected, but
Well,
with all the names that have been pulled off the market, I'm like,
I'm not letting that be an excuse.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm not.
We still have a ton of room. If you
They could. They also cost themselves a bunch of room too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So there's
With-
no.
but
I don't know about the.
so you mentioned that to me. You're like, well, what are they doing with this Muzzin situation? But it's like they didn't know. I feel like.
Maybe I'm just run out of the excuse train here, but did Vegas know? Did Kucherov in Tampa know? There's a lot of examples. And if they didn't know, why did they get rid of all their accrued cap space?
That's true.
Like that's
and like to only have Clifford play literally one game, and all they had to do was send down Clifford.
like there's no way to like shake it other than they just wasted like $1.5 million of cap space.
Yeah.
And if more people knew that, it'd be a way bigger story. I don't think people know the intricacies of the cap, especially when you compare it to teams like Boston and Colorado. What they're doing, they're saving themselves a ton of space by doing this. Landeskog's not on LTIR. They saved their space using the accrued cap space, and they're going to have more space at the deadline.
And they just traded Tyson Jost,
which will help accrue more cap space.
Yeah.
Damn it.
They added Josh Manson without having to put anyone do anything, just to their active roster.
And they half retained him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really good piece of work by Joe Sakic.
Yeah.
Good work.
Again, like even if all of that work is just to save, like, again, like we paid a fourth last year to get Foligno retained again. If that just means like saving a couple $1 million by not having Clifford on your NHL active roster, that means saving a 4th round pick. Why are we not doing that, right? So you got to think that maybe, I don't know, maybe it just doesn't fit in their plans, or I don't know what it is, but it is a missed opportunity for sure.
We 4th round pick. We don't have one.
But Jason, correct me if I'm wrong. On the path they were at, they were on pace to get about $1.8 to $2 million of extra cap space at the deadline.
So, and if you include other players,
what do they have now?
Zero.
So right now it's, but I wonder. I haven't looked at it recently with what would happen when Clifford goes down. I assume it's just, I don't know. The weird thing is that the Leafs have 8 defensemen on their roster and 14 forwards. So it's like
just way too many guys.
Yeah, just way too many guys. But
I don't know. Brandon Pridham, he's got his work cut out for him.
I'm sure they know what they're doing, but
their moves have been curious though.
Yeah, they've been odd to say the least. So they still do have. Maybe
one day it'll make sense.
Yeah,
maybe.
Hopefully, maybe by March 21st.
Yeah,
hopefully.
exactly, for sure. But I'm just saying, I'm confused. That's all.
Same here.
That's fair.
From what you've laid out, 100%. I'm in the exact same boat as you.
And I just credit to that guy on Twitter, Earl Schwartz is his name. He's been tweeting about this for the last month. Like, hey, if Clifford doesn't go down by this day, like they're going to waste all their accrued space. And he kept saying, like, this is really weird. I don't know why Clifford's still on the roster. Like, they must be really committed to the Muzzin LTIR move then. And then Muzzin skated the next day, and he was like, well, I really don't know how to explain this. So,
yeah, I agree. Yeah, he puts out some interesting information with regards to the salary cap. So, yeah, he awesome. Other thing to note about defense, kind of unrelated, but the Toronto Marlies. So Joseph Duszak came out and asked for a trade. Well, he's not that good. I don't see him with the Leafs anytime soon, even though he is over a point a game as a defenseman. The Marlies then moved him to forward, and he's been playing forward. And he got a top 6 look too, and I believe he got an assist or scored in there as well. So the Joseph Duszak forward experiment is in full swing right now. So kind of an interesting thing to keep an eye on. Other thing, Curtis Douglas, I believe, has 8 goals, 26 points in 46 games this year. He's an AHL. He'd be eligible to be signed to an entry-level contract, so that's something to keep an eye on moving forward for next year. He's having a pretty good year down there. 6'8" is his height.
That is a big boy. Holy smokes.
Yes. Exactly.
Jesus.
Massive. So that'd be interesting.
Josh Hosang has really tailed off, eh? Numbers-wise?
He came back from the Olympics. He scored a goal where he drove to the net, which is something.
23 points in 32 games.
So he
Minus
had, before
5.
the Olympics, I believe he had 21 and 27. So he has a little bit. right? I don't know. The Marlies are doing all right. They signed Blandisi for the rest of the year, which was good to see. He's been chipping in there, but
I just don't see a ton of guys. Like, I really don't. Guys that are going to be, I'm looking to be on the Leafs. I don't see a lot of guys when I look at this roster.
Yeah, it would be the only guys in the conversation like Brett Cini, Joey Anderson. Those are the two.
And they called up Nick Robertson. So
And Nick Robertson's already up. So I don't know. Maybe someone else sees something in one of those two guys. They're playing pretty well. I like Brett Cini as a player. But anywho, moving along.
Goalies.
Anything else we have about the defense?
No, we're talking about the goalies. What's there to talk about?
What?
No,
Yeah, we're going to count all the saves from all the clutch saves from Petr Mrazek.
no. There's been no goalie talk this week. There's nothing to talk about.
nothing to talk about there.
Read out the first note I have for goalies.
Petr Mrazek shits the bed.
That's what we're talking about.
He was, I already mentioned it, but he was awful. Awful this week. So it started off Arizona, the first two goals were just, like, I was listening to this, I listened to this game on the radio and then I watched it, like, the next day. Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph were flabbergasted at how bad these two goals were from Petr Mrazek. Like, they didn't even do the play-by, but they're just like, oh, how did that get in? Ugh, kind of thing. Like, especially the Chychrun one where it's just, it's a curling rock, and they're just slowly like they had the brooms behind it to get it in.
It was hilarious. I've never seen a goal go under 4 players on the defending team's stick in my entire life. Like, 4 guys tried to take a whack at it, couldn't get it, and then Mrazek comes across and dives and somehow fumbles his stick.
His stick.
I don't even understand. And it looked like someone put a banana peel underneath him because he just flopped over there. And
yeah, I don't know what that guy was doing before this game, night before this game, the day of this game. Don't do it ever again, because it was I don't know what the hell that was. But then he had the Heritage Classic, Hamilton, Ontario, Tim Hortons Field to redeem himself. Started the game pretty good. Couldn't catch a puck worth of shit. I don't know why. I'm guessing it had something to do with the brand new glove that he was using. Might have something to do with it there. But he couldn't catch anything. He made some saves. I thought there was one. It was the Casey Middlestad one. People were like, oh, that was going over the net. Or, he was wildly out of position on that one. Yeah, because the Leafs turned it over within their own blue line, and Kyle Okposo was providing a screen on a 1-on-0. The only time I've ever seen that was in an intramural hockey game where we were up 5-1, so my team just stopped playing defense. That's why. He had to look through that screen. He made a pretty good save. And then the next shot was the side of the net one, which was just a dagger. To get into a little bit about that fourth goal, people are complaining about that. Oh, Petr Mrazek doesn't know where the post is. No, the post is supposed to stay in the ice, and you use the post as momentum to push out or push post to post. He tried to push off the post, and it came off. So he didn't go anywhere, so it slipped through.
Yeah, but I don't care about that. I care that it slipped through.
yeah.
It's not a great goal.
It's a terrible goal. I'm sorry. I'm tired of the
save
excuses.
at that time.
We just pulled up an AHL guy to give us more saves than Mrazek's given us all year.
Yeah, he did.
Straight facts, nothing else. Mrazek's been terrible, absolutely terrible. That's it.
He's been inexcusably terrible. I'm just saying what happened on that fourth goal.
No, I agree, but I'm just saying, it can't go in, though. That's what I've been saying for a month. Again, we talk about tips, defending in front. There were still tips tonight. There were a lot of tips tonight, actually.
Yep.
Stop them all. It's not again, I'm not saying it's necessarily Mrazek's fault overall. There's a lot of issues with the team. It's not all on him. It's not all on anything. But there was no way they're going to win with Mrazek in net. They're not.
It's interesting. How big is Eric Kallgren? Someone pull that up.
6'3".
He's skinny, man.
He's 6'3".
Yeah, 6. How much is
Mrazek is only 6'2". I think that's a little bit of number.
No, that's a fudge. He's 6'1".
Yeah.
I'm almost
because Mrazek
very confident he's 6'1".
Kallgren looks not a lot taller, but looks significantly taller.
6'3", 198.
Yeah.
That's pretty thin.
He's thin. I saw when
but
they
he has
interviewed him
big
after the
equipment.
game,
I feel like that's something that some goalies do. Like specifically Vasilevsky, his chest protector is like 3 times the
allowed
size
to,
of him.
though.
I know. I'm just
Did
saying.
you know
like,
Frederik Andersen shrunk his pads 2 years ago
yes, I remember that.
so that he can move around quicker?
Interesting.
It's paid off this year.
Yeah.
Didn't in Toronto. I don't know what he was doing there, but it's very noticeable. If you pull up a picture of his CN Tower pads and you pull up a picture of his pads now, they are noticeably thinner.
Interesting.
So some goalies you can't
Yeah.
move with that bigger
yeah,
chest
yeah,
protector, right?
Yeah.
6'2", 187 for Mrazek. So it's 13 pounds that Kallgren has on him in terms of just filling out the net. Like, I don't know. I think, so essentially my take on what the Leafs goalie situation as it sits right now. Campbell is on IR. You have Mrazek. You have Erik Kallgren. You play Kallgren until he proves he cannot play hockey at this level.
I like that.
Okay.
There's the only way that you do it. I'm not going to pull out the takes, Kallgren fits the Leafs style better because he's bigger and he cuts off more of an angle, so the tips are more likely to hit him, right? And Petr Mrazek is smaller and more athletic. That is just galaxy brain. We need more games. You can't judge a goalie based off of one game.
He could be Garrett Sparks.
Yeah.
Well, Kallgren played much.
No, but I'm just saying, for
Yeah.
example, I remember people were saying, Sparks, what a pick, 7th round value. Like, what's going to happen? He'll be in the mix
Didn't
for the next
certain
5
Leafs
years.
executives say that
Yes.
was one of my best picks ever?
Correct.
Ha 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 ha.
But
But
that's why I appreciate
it
your
was
point.
16 shots on 16. It was 16 saves on 16 shots against the Edmonton Oilers, who finished last that year. Kallgren, it was 35 saves on 35 shots against the Dallas Stars, who are a much better team.
Yeah.
So it was much more impressive. However, yes, like you have to pump the brakes on goalies.
Yeah.
Like you have to see like a full season before you can at the NHL level. It has to be at the NHL level before you can say, yes, like this is our guy moving forward, right? Because he's played pro hockey in Sweden. He had some good moments with the Marlies this year. At one point, he was a 925 when the next highest was like an 880 or whatever, but that has since dropped. But he looked good, and he's earned the second start.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Plain and simple.
Yeah. So I was about to ask, obviously, you guys think
100% he's starting.
If
he's
it's
moving
not
forward.
him, I'd lose confidence in this coaching staff a little
Yeah.
bit. That's
I am
the
good to get-
dumbest thing ever.
Yeah,
You cannot pull him out
I'd be-
after a shutout.
I'd be shocked.
Yeah. I'm going to get crucified by my fantasy partner for holding Mrazek over Kallgren. Texted me today saying we should drop
You
Mrazek.
should. I don't know why you don't
I
have
don't
Mrazek in
know.
fantasy.
What? He gets points in our league.
For
Yeah,
what?
it's a wild league.
I don't want to get into
Heritage Classic saves
it, but
specifically?
you get
Most
points
times
for
spent
getting
outside his
shots.
crease.
No, you get points for getting saves. So
He doesn't,
He doesn't
make
get
many of
saves.
them.
he still gets points, guys.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
sure.
I'm just saying.
Here's my thing on Mrazek. I would, if anyone gave me anything, even 0 for him, I would get rid of him.
Yeah.
Right now,
Simply
yeah.
because he makes $3.75 million. The amount of things you can
3.8.
do, the amount of
Yeah,
things you can
3.8.
do with that cap space at the deadline would be incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Like incredible.
Yeah, as of right now.
And the issue that I think we're gonna find with Mrazek in Toronto is that he's had really good peak seasons, but he's also valued out in a lot of seasons. If
Yes,
you look at
that's
his
true.
save percentage rolling year to year, looks like a heartbeat monitor. It's up, down,
Yeah.
up, down, up, down. I don't think the Leafs need that in a backup goalie.
No.
I think they need a stable 9-10. They don't need a stud goalie. They
Yeah.
really don't. At one point we did, and you know what? To win in the playoffs, you do. Mrazek's not playing in the playoffs for Leafs. He might have to, but he's not going to be their goalie. You already know that.
What's funny is they don't need like that stud goalie need 9-10. That's what Mrazek was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's
like the
but
9-15.
he's supposed to, but you could see in his save percentage, 918, 921, and then 901, 910, 891, 914, 905, 923, and back to 884. It's up and down, and right now he's in a bad spot. If you could cut ties with that, I would cut ties as soon as possible.
I don't think he's a bad goalie. I think he would work out elsewhere. However, right now, just it's spiraling. Like he's possibly uncomfortable playing in front of what the Leafs' defensive system is. It's a huge market. It's the hockey mecca.
You can't
the
underrate
pressure,
what that will
You can't
do.
get away from the pressure.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I'm not saying throw him to the wind. He's not an NHL. He is an NHL goaltender. I just don't know if he's going to be able to find that in Toronto. I don't have much.
I
Personally, I don't have much confidence that he will find that this season in Toronto.
If he came back next year and gave us like 915 in 30 games, I would not be shocked at all. But the current situation is apparently the Leafs can't make a move because they're so cap tight. Like, there's a great way to get rid of $3.8 million. I don't know if that's realistic. I don't know who would take him, how you'd figure that out.
I think I think there'd be teams that would take him.
But in terms of an opportunity this year, I think, I don't know. I've heard some things otherwise, which kind of have surprised me, but I don't know how you're not going absolute balls to the wall at the trade deadline this year.
Yeah.
And trying to do whatever you can to win. I've heard some indications that the Leafs may be quiet at this deadline. That would be really disappointing for me personally.
Yeah, I agree.
I expect at least one more defenseman to this roster.
Yeah.
But what if it's not what if it's a third pair defenseman? That's it. That's the only thing
like
they do.
Who though?
Jacob Middleton, Justin Braun.
If that's only
I think
move,
he can make it work.
If that's the only move we make, I'm kind of disappointed.
Well, when you look at what the other guys are going to do, and they're going to do a lot.
Jacob Middleton.
Yeah. So
His name's out there?
Yeah.
That's what Jason said.
Yeah, I sent the tweet
didn't see
earlier
that.
today. I'd be disappointed, especially considering like the assets we gave up last year to
get Nick Foligno and Ben Hutton.
So like we acquired Nick Foligno, Ben Hutton, David Rittich, and Riley Nash for a first, third, 2 fourths, and a fifth and a seventh, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's 6 picks.
Basically an entire draft pick.
Yeah,
of
literally
picks.
an entire draft.
The Ricky Williams, Mike Ditka trade, if anyone knows that.
Hey.
So,
but
and I understand because of that we're in a position this year where maybe management would be hesitant, but I'm sorry you swung and you missed. Like, don't not swing again, because then that's how you strike out. So you'll get caught. Look,
I actually, this was a great point made by our buddy Luca. We were talking a bit about
which one?
Luca Zuliani.
There you go.
We were talking because there was this article about Dubas's trades, and we're going over this one good, bad, whatever. But
we mentioned this last week, didn't we?
Yeah, but he's saying, which I think kind of makes sense, is like Kyle Dubas is a very intellectually based, smart guy. I think he makes a mistake, and he's not stubborn. He likes to, if he makes a mistake, he'll learn from it.
Yeah.
But I think he sometimes overcompensates for his mistakes.
Yeah.
Like Mason Marchment traded, and then next year you sign or you give a first for Nick Foligno and sign Wayne Simmons.
Yeah,
that was an example.
And Bogosian, too.
And Bogosian. Like, that,
you don't have enough veteran experience on this team? Go out and sign 41-year-old Joe Thornton.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe that's what's going to happen this year where, we've given up our first-round pick at all these deadlines. Now we're going to do nothing. That was a mistake. We're going to keep our picks and do nothing. What do you think about that?
I would hope not.
Yeah, I think there's still gaps in this roster, and if you could improve on it, why not?
Before we get to some around the league, do you think Fleury is a realistic opportunity for the Leafs?
I don't think it's realistic. Again, Fleury's not that big of a goal. I almost want to see, like, when you're looking around the league, like Anton Forsberg's another guy too. He weighs 178. Fleury's not a very big goaltender as well. My thing was, and what I'm happy, it was interesting to see that it worked with Kallgren. I wanted to see a different type of goaltender in the net. Mm-hmm. Campbell and Mrazek are both the same height, same weight, same style of goaltender. I want to see maybe if a different type of goaltender, like you throw in. I'm trying to think.
Well, hasn't that been Anderson though?
Yeah, I was going to say
Anderson was 6'4", 220. Yes.
Yeah, so like a different style than.
Except in his last year, I thought he was flopping too much because of injuries.
Also, I would say in his prime with the Leafs, their defense was worse than it is now.
Much worse.
For sure.
It was much worse. Oops. Hope that.
The only issue with Anderson again is his playoff play was very inconsistent.
He just completely shit the bed in the playoffs. Of course.
Right. Which if he had if the Leafs maybe made one run to like the third round, I bet Anderson would still be the Leafs.
Probably.
100%.
Probably.
100%. If he gave us that Columbus year. If he gave us a couple series wins, 100% he's back.
Even with
just he didn't.
Yeah, and then it just went bad last year.
And it went really bad last year.
And everyone who says Mrazek for Anderson. Oh, the one thing I will say is we talked about it the whole year. We didn't want a $3.8 million backup. We were more interested in a $1-2 million backup.
1B kind of thing.
And if you look at the money, Fred's only making 4.2 and Mrazek's making 3.8, but most of us were not interested in signing Frederik Anderson back.
No.
At any price. That was not us, but
we just
Leafs
saw
Nation.
Terrible performance for how long? You're like, what's this injury? He's 30 whatever years old. How is his performance going to be able to keep up? There was a lot of questions. Carolina gambled on Frederik Anderson, and it paid off. Plain and simple.
Yeah, good for them.
Good for them. I mean, he's playing like what we saw the Frederick Anderson of old.
But again, we'll see what happens in the playoffs, right? So in terms of trading for a goalie, obviously, like I don't think this Kallgren start makes a difference, does it?
No.
Maybe to some people it might, but
I just don't. From the interviews that I've seen with Kyle Dubas, I don't think they're trading for a goaltender. Right. If you were to, my big thing, I probably do have to research it more. But as I was saying, like, why are you going out and getting a Fleury, Forsberg that are the same type of goaltender as what you have?
Well, to be fair,
maybe it's that type of goaltender that's not working within the Leaf system. Maybe you try to mix it up, but again, that would be playing fantasy GM.
Mm-hmm.
I agree to an extent, but I think Fleury's like a different case. Like he's right now,
he's also a Hall of Famer,
right? And he's trying to chase a cup. Like then maybe that's like also a momentum thing. Like wow, our GM went out and got Marc-Andre Fleury. Like let's pick it up. Like let's make a run here.
There's no concrete sort of theories that you can go based off of in terms of if you were to acquire a goaltender. So that's where we're just kind of theorize. You have to theorize it, and I think that's all you're left to do. Because look, like St. Louis gave up a bunch and went out and got Ryan Miller, who had a 920 on a terrible team. How did that work out for them?
Yeah, not good. I remember that. He was really bad though, right?
He had a 905, and then in the playoffs they didn't make it past the round.
Yeah,
and it soured very quickly, and he went to Vancouver afterwards. But then there are cases where it did work. Vegas went out and got Robin Lehner. He looked very good. He won them a couple playoff rounds. He was good for them in the playoffs. So, but again, Robin Lehner 6'5". Fleury's only 6'2". I don't know. I don't think there's anything there.
Also, I don't think they're going to pay a first-round pick for half a year of a goalie. That's just absurd.
No,
like if that's the real asking price, that's nobody's trading for Fleury.
I think it would be.
Well, no one's going to give that
because you have to retain. Chicago would have to retain.
I don't think anyone's going to give that though.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You think someone would give it first?
They would have to get something else back as well.
What was the last expiring goalie to get traded
think
for
about
first?
Who are the playoff teams that need a goaltender badly?
Edmonton?
It's just Edmonton and Toronto.
And I don't think Edmonton's going to because Edmonton's in an interesting spot in which
Koskinen's come on.
But also they'd have to trade one of Koskinen and Smith, right?
Yeah. And then that's on top of that. Nobody's giving assets for either of that.
They also like Stuart Skinner, and they've said that they want to give him a fair shot as well. So they actually have 3 goalies.
Wow.
But
so it looks like Fleury's probably staying put because
or Vegas would be the other one now, which is kind of funny.
I don't think he's come back there.
But they need a goalie badly.
Yeah, they do. Larry B's not providing what they need there. But anyway, in terms of goaltenders, just to wrap it up nice and quick, Mrazek's been shit. Very nice to see Kallgren. Hopefully see him in the net Thursday. Better see him in the net Thursday. We will continue to monitor this.
I think Jack Campbell is the Leafs' real hope here, and hopefully he gets back healthy and plays well. We'll see.
That's true.
Maybe the break will do him well because he was going bad for a while there. No one ever wants to get injured. A little reset would be good for him, I think.
Once he hears those soup chants again, he'll be right back on track, I think. Right?
Yeah. Also, I forgot to say this last podcast, but, the goalies are bad when my girlfriend came to the Sabres game with me, and she's, not the biggest. She likes hockey, but not the biggest fan. Obviously doesn't analyze the game like us. Within, I don't know, halfway through the second period, she's like, is this a different goalie? I was like, yeah. She's like, he's way worse than the other one. I was like, well, right now, yeah.
Right now, yep. He couldn't stop a beach ball that game.
So one quick thing, I don't know if I'm missing a goalie here, but you can do a quick sort of trades at the trade deadline, and going back to 2006, I don't see a goalie being traded for a first.
No.
What did Miller go for? That was the only. Lehner went for a second. I know that. There hasn't been many goalies moved. I mean, Reimer was traded from the Leafs to San Jose as a backup.
You think they'd get Reimer back? That is the second most talked about goalie.
So I lied. Ryan Miller was traded for first, but Steve Ott was also there. Chris Stewart.
I don't want
was in that
Anderson.
deal.
He doesn't show up in big games. I want James Reimer, who is mentally much more tougher than Frederick. No, he's not.
No, he's not.
He's not talked about enough as being just one of the mentally weaker goaltenders in the league.
Yeah,
he is.
He's never been a real starter. That's the thing.
Yeah, he's a good 1B.
Yeah,
in a non-hockey market.
Yeah,
so sounds good. He probably wants to stay there, right? All right, around the league, Colorado made some moves. We just talked about that. Josh Manson being added, 50% retained.
It's a great
from
move.
the Anaheim Ducks.
It's a great
Adds
move.
exactly what they need. Some grit on the back end, ability to stop the cycle, physicality in front of the net, right?
And
we
I don't
know what the JFresh charts say. It's what they need, though.
Yeah.
Show me a defensive defenseman who's actually good on those. Like, clearly that's a blind spot for his.
A defensive defenseman that's not named Adam Pelech because that guy's on another planet.
Yeah, like I also you have like Manson's a bit of an injury guy, so you have some risk there. But if he's healthy in the playoffs, he'll be really good.
He'd be incredible.
And also, they don't have another guy that they're comfortable playing top 4 minutes. You can see by their deployment, they have Makar and Taves playing mid-20s. Girard plays like 22 minutes, and then their next highest guy is like Eric Johnson at 16, Jack Johnson at 15, Ryan Murray at 14. And Bowen Byram got injured. Mm-hmm. And you're not bringing Bowen Byram back and throwing him in top 4 in the playoffs. That's not fair to him.
No.
I think they want to keep developing him properly in a bottom pair minutes with a guy like Murray or Eric Johnson. That's a really good decor now, making that move.
Exactly. Just going back to Adam Pelech real quick. How funny was that? The plus-minus for... I know plus-minus isn't the best stat, but the plus-minus for the Islanders...
Yeah.
He's number
5.
1 at... Well, everyone's at 5, but then
lower.
he's in first at 21.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
16 above second place.
That's crazy.
Anyways.
Plus minus not great, but again, when you show it like that, you can.
Yeah, when you're minus 50, it is saying something, and when you're 15 above the second place guy on your team,
Yeah.
it does say something. And the other analytics are going to
for the Islanders. Eh?
Yeah,
Wow.
it is. Latest trade chatter, Ben Sherratt was scratched recently. He's been linked to almost every single team in the NHL, so watch out for him.
Pittsburgh, I mean, Berkey, that's his kind of guy.
Oh, yeah. Pittsburgh. I heard St. Louis is another one. The Rangers.
St. Louis is like, that's exactly how they like their D.
Mm-hmm.
So
they like them boys big.
I expect the Rangers to make a big move. They got a ton of cap space.
Giordano, we'll see where he goes.
Hopefully the Leafs. We've seen him connected again.
To who?
To the Leafs.
From who?
Jason sent me something today.
Who?
About Giordano.
Yeah, so that was Saravelli, I believe.
I got a text. I got confirmation from his trainer. He's not expecting it. If he is moved, if he's in trade rumors with the Leafs, he's not expecting it.
So, yeah.
I read that differently than you.
That text message?
Yeah.
Let's read it. Let's read it live on air right now. This is awful radio.
So quickly, Frank's going back to Giordano. Frank Saravelli said on Sportsnet 590 that he hasn't heard Sherratt's name connected to the Leafs too much. Guessing he's probably further down on their target list. Giordano higher on their list.
So just bumped into X. He said, blah, blah, blah. I said, did you ask if Giordano is coming to the Leafs? He said Giordano cost 3 goals against the Leafs. He said he gave him shit. Giordano says Leafs can't afford him.
Yeah, but what does that mean? They can't afford his price tag or his salary? His salary. We could figure that out.
We could figure that out easily, I think.
In terms of like,
listen, if we're
things to figure out, that should be, again, the easiest thing to figure out.
But if his name is in trade rumors with the Leafs, he's not expecting to come to the Leafs, it seems like.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, maybe.
So it would be a surprise
From
to
what
him.
I understand is all they asked him is to submit a 19-team list that he could get traded to. And the Leafs are on the list of one of the teams he could get traded to.
Beautiful.
Okay.
That's what I saw on Twitter today.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Again, as of right now, he's not expecting it, but hopefully that changes.
But also looking at the market, like Manson only got a second and a prospect. I don't know how good that prospect is, so I don't want to speak
half
out of
retained.
it. And half retained.
Not bad. He was on the Olympic team.
They signed him right
Decent.
away,
So they obviously liked him. But like if that's the cost for it's essentially, I guess, 2 seconds for Manson. You can't like Giordano, who's kind of having a
Boston
down year
College.
in a lot of people's eyes. We don't think so. How much more would he realistically cost? I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably the
I'm glad
same price.
that trade went first to set the price tag.
Also, like you said, if that's like if he doesn't expect to be traded to the Leafs and the Leafs do nothing and like they could have got Giordano, that sucks.
That does
Well,
suck.
it
Yeah.
massively sucks.
That sucks.
It's terrible.
That
No other way to
sucks.
put it. Just sucks. But
I agree. I bet as of right now, it looks like the Leafs can't afford his cap space. They could have. They could have done a lot of things to do it. Mm-hmm. If you accrued $2 million at the deadline, moved Holl in the trade, and got him half retained, you can get him easily.
You don't even need. You didn't even need him to get half retained if you did that. That's how much space we would have had.
Yeah,
we would only need to be like 30% retained. But anyways,
it's All right.
But you're welcome for the scoops from Joe. That's a great scoop.
Yeah.
As of right now.
It's my only source.
As of right now, not expected. Can that change for our sake?
Hopefully. So we have, in 3 minutes, it'll be 5 days till the trade deadline. We will do a recap of the trade deadline on March 21st, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to do a quick rundown of like the top guys and right now?
Real quick.
If
All right,
anyone
so
wants a little early trade deadline primer.
Jason, you can pull up the list, but in terms of guys that were pulled off, it looks like Hurdle is not on the market. Tomas Hurdle, San Jose is looking to sign him. John Klingberg is off the market. It looks like in Dallas, as Miro Heiskanen went out with mono, I believe it was. So those are two pretty big names off the market. Philip Forsberg was floated out there, but we'll see. I guess probably not getting traded. Ben Sherratt's the biggest one out there right now. Well, like he's a big one. He's size-wise
a tall
one
piece.
that is out there. Any other? What are some other?
I
names
think
you
it's
got?
fair to say Sherrod has been like the most talked about
For sure.
Yeah, that's
for
a big
sure.
one.
So the NHL trade board, according to The Athletic, I don't know if they do this based on like, I don't know how they rank it, but number 1, Giordano, number 2, Claude Giroux, number 3, interesting, Jake DeBrusk. He's kind of come back into form with the
Claude Giroux.
I don't think they're trading DeBrusk anymore.
They're not.
No, I think what date is that from?
It's pretty updated. They mentioned the Manson trade. So
yeah, DeBrusk played a couple games on their top line when Marchand was out.
Yeah. So
and they totally flipped. He was pretty productive, and he's been picking it up. So I doubt he'll. I'm surprised. Like the big one is Hampus Lindholm is readily available right now. I'm surprised you haven't mentioned that.
He is
That's
number
massive.
7 on the list. Following up right behind him is Rickard Rakell.
Rickard Rakell.
And then
Ricky Rakell.
Jacob Chitrin's on there. Ben Sherratt, Cal Yarncrook, Phil Kessel,
Phil Kessel will see. Just had a kid.
He should get traded to Boston.
Braden Holtby. Maybe that's a guy who the Leafs would look at. I don't know. I think we talked about wanting to sign him as our backup. At the
I
beginning of the
think
year,
Dallas
right?
is going. Well,
I mean, as a swap.
they
who
just
knows?
put on
Yeah,
they just put Hudobin on LTIR, so I don't think
As a swap
he'll-
for who? Mrazek? Like that's the other problem. Like you can't trade for a goalie without getting rid of Mrazek.
Yeah, you have to.
I
So
know.
Yeah.
Kind of makes sense, I guess, for them. But
for Dallas,
yeah, then you have your mentor to Jake Ottinger moving forward.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like that. I like this. It's a good sell. I like that.
Klingberg
I'm a fan.
and
It's a sell. It's not. I don't know.
yeah,
Anyways.
Varlamov as well. Other goalies: Braun, Domi, Larson, Besser, Tyler
Varlamov
Mott,
is
who the Leafs
5.5,
have been linked
I
to.
believe, 5 in salary.
For another year.
Yeah, my big thing with him at the beginning of every year, it looks like he forgets how to play hockey. So it's like, is it a hip injury? Is it just he doesn't train in the off season? So
The thing I like about him is he's been pretty
solid. He's
just
been
consistent.
So
Last couple years, 912, 929, 914, 909, 920.
he was one of my underrated guys in the summer.
Yeah.
And then I watched him against Boston this year. I'm like, this guy forgot how to play hockey.
But
It
again,
does not
he's
look
another
like the same guy.
He's another size-wise identical to what we have.
He's
6'2", 210.
He's thicker.
He's thicker, but like
20 pounds thicker. He's not much taller.
in terms of those guys, interesting for everyone tuning in. I think Giroux's most likely going to get traded. If he gets traded to Florida, that's bad news bears for the Leafs. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not much else to say there. I don't know if Tampa Bay is going to be in the market for many guys. They're pretty capped out, and they have a pretty darn good
Pretty
team.
bare.
Yeah.
And they've spent a lot, and they've actually gone for it in really smart ways and trading first for guys with term.
Still have a very good team, though.
And I really don't think they're that interested. Like, where are they going to add? Their D-core is rock solid. Their forward group has been a really good mix in the bottom six of veterans like Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. Corey Perry's had a fantastic year. Pat Maroon contributes. Young guys like Matthew Joseph, Ross Colton. Like, they just develop. And
I feel like they're missing like a David Kampf.
Bellemare,
I guess.
that's their David Kampf.
Maybe, yeah.
It
That's
is.
true.
Look how
That
much he
is
plays for them. Look when he plays.
Yeah, that makes sense.
One more name that's interesting that the Leafs were kind of rumored in at the beginning of the season, but it kind of tailed off as the season went on. But now that Detroit's come out and said that pretty much everyone's on the table right now, they're willing to talk anyone other than Sider and
Danny
Raymond.
DeKaiser.
Raymond. Yeah,
You're
Tyler.
saying Bertuzzi for the Leafs.
Yeah.
They're not. There's
I'm just-
0.0%
0%
chance.
His
He can't
name-
play here still.
His name was on the list. So just
He
throwing
can't
that
play
out there.
here.
Yeah, but you can't. Yeah, you can't play in Canada.
True. That's
So-
a wrench in the situation.
That's why it's 0.0%.
Maybe they take a run at Dylan Larkin. I don't know. But
They're not
What?
trading Dylan
I don't know.
Larkin.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. I'm just causing nonsense now. But anyways.
Well, you kind of just rip through the list quick. Is there any names out there that stand out to you?
Depth names. Anything?
Like I like Raquel. I like Lindholm.
Yeah.
Surprised Jeff Petrie chatter has gone down.
Yeah.
Probably nobody's going to pay what they want
He also has a lot
I
of
think
term,
off-season.
right?
because of the term as well.
Yeah.
Dmitry Filipovich mentioned in PDO cast he can see a fit between Chychrun and LA, which I can see too, but he said it would be easier to get that done in the off season. So
Yeah, especially with
that'll be
he got hurt.
interesting. Yeah, he just got
hurt his ankle.
You're right.
So I don't know how long he's going to be out. It said 2 to 4 months, but who knows? Who wants to take a risk?
2 to 4 months.
2 to 4 weeks. Oh my gosh.
Okay.
But who knows if someone wants to take a risk at the deadline? Because as of right now, the deadline would be only 1 week into that injury, so you don't really get a full picture of that. But
Exactly. LA would make sense though. I mean, you give up Turcotte, Velarde, Rasmus Kupari, a pick, something like that.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see, just in a general sense, if Brock Besser gets traded anywhere. Just
I agree,
because,
that's interesting.
It
would be kind of weird if Vancouver, after all this, did absolutely
nothing. Absolutely.
After all the, they've brought in 10 new people in their front office. Like, Jim Rutherford said everyone's available, analyzing the roster, analyzing moves, and then they do nothing. That's kind of odd.
Yeah.
So I sent you guys
Tyler
a tweet.
Myers is on the market.
Yeah, sure,
That
I'm sure
was
he is.
interesting. I'm not sure who would pay to get Tyler Myers.
What's the quota about big players? It's something like, he's 6'4" all day or
All day.
something.
Every day of the week.
Every day of the week he's 6'4".
I'm
But
still
he's 6'7".
I'm still looking at Chicago, even if it's not Fleury, maybe one of their D for the Leafs plus Brandon Hagel, and they give.
Connor Murphy got injured. I don't know the extent
I think
of that.
maybe a Calvin DeHaan and Brandon Hagel trade for the Leafs.
Yeah. It was funny. I went to go watch, and I'm like, let's see what this Hagel guy's all about. I saw him once against Philly, and then I watched him in the Ottawa game. His first instance of him touching the puck, he turned it over for a goal.
Oh, tough.
Tough.
He's got his 21st goal tonight.
Ooh.
Wow.
Not bad.
And Fleury had a 45-save overtime loss.
Ooh.
So
A loss, so it keeps that price low.
other guys, Andrew Kopp, interesting. Max
Yeah.
Domi, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Max Domi, he can hit 3 pylons with 2 pucks.
Yeah, that was a cool
and
video.
then knock over a net.
That was a cool video.
That was sick.
I
Except
didn't watch it. I just heard you guys tell me about it.
yeah, it was cool.
But, anywho, any other points to be made?
It's a big week. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, hopefully a lot happens. That's all. I want to see more Mantha for Verana in the
Yeah,
first.
that was fun.
Before we go, let's just get a percentage chance of Petr Mrazek playing his last game in a Leafs jersey. Give it to me. right now.
Zero.
Zero?
He's going to
Okay.
play again but by the time we do the next Tuesday podcast, he'll have played another
But that's
game.
past the trade deadline. There's only 2 games from now until the trade deadline.
What did you say?
Mrazek playing his last game as a Leaf in the Leaf sweater.
Yeah, we have 5 days till trade deadline.
Yeah,
There's
like
2
I don't know how they trade him. Like,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, if you want to get a goalie back, you have to trade him. But anyways,
I agree.
yeah. So
Who the heck would take that contract? I don't know.
Right now.
I don't know right now.
Yeah.
Unless again they gave a pick to move him, but I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see.
See.
The wait will be over by the time we do this.
Monday. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Be sure to keep out YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube. Give us a rating on Spotify. Leave us a review on iTunes. We appreciate it so much. Thank you, everyone, again for listening.
Go Leafs, go.